Where we last left, R0.
Oh, man, these robots.
Here,
Somebody's gonna clear this stuff out.
That doesn't seem right.
What do they do with my taxes? Again, this is usually where I wreck the car. Whoa, lag it. Calm down. Okay. Thought I avoided that. But it appears I was wrong. Whoa! That's what I get for taking my eyes off the road. I promise, in real life, I am a considerably more observant driver. I love the fact that spam is like the end-all be-all anti-radiation thing here.
Dr. K's access records were coded to the lab that used to be here.
Sup, fools? Titular Zinept here. So I totally forgot that, or missed, that I was muted the whole time during this section. So this is post-commentary. And we're going to watch how I do. A lot of these parts seemed so specific, and like I'm sure if you checked the map and saw what kind of stuff you'd be involved with, that would make this better and have a lot more storage to make like the armored pieces, the insulated pieces, and everything like that. But just to get through the story, you really didn't need too much, so. But I also never really explored the zones. So I didn't get to see everything you went against. But the environmental effects in this game, holy shit. They were insane. The amount of wreckage to my car every time I went out was just astronomical. That backseat tank was definitely a worthwhile thing to do. Because I never had an issue with fuel the entire time I played. I got close to an issue once, but that thing was almost cheap. I never had to siphon fuel. I never used my extra fuel cans. Like, I was just fine. That quick refuel would have been nice about here, but, you know. Never being in a rush to get fuel, it didn't seem worth it. I've done that before in real life. Left the gas nozzle in my car and tried to drive off. Bad moves. Oh, dude, getting the materials for that limb shield was maddening. It took far too long. I mean, had I properly collected stuff, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but those thermosap crystals and plasma were so annoying. Repairing. I remember that. It is a little weird that, like, repair was, like, just splooching on the different parts of your car. Like, I know they said the Remnant makes you obsess over them, but that's a little much, don't you think? Just covering the car in splooge. CSI would have a field day with this. Man, you really spend like a lot of time working on this car. When you're playing the game, you don't realize it, but good God. Had I realized this, I probably would have cut all this stuff out. But, oh well. Too late now. Oh yeah, I always wanted to build a better engine. Never got around to that. Oh, my favorite thing in this game. The repair. Without ever having to waste materials. Oh yeah, the tire got bald. Nice touch. Having like a... Even if you repair the item, it slowly does lose durability or quality over time. So you're never really ever done fixing your car or building it up. Annoying process to deal with, but good touch for like environmental building. I don't know why I saved that. Oh, the Liberator, dude, that was one of the best. The Liberator and the Handy Vac were the best two tools in this whole thing. being able to actually like strip the pieces off a car you found out there instead of having like rebuild them from scratch, that helped me get my car armored up so much. I should have been using that thing way more. And the unused extra gas tank. I wonder what the point of the flare guns were. Did they scare things off? The relightable one was good enough for just... Or just a flare was fine. I don't know why you needed a flare gun. Fucking quirks, man. I never figured out how this really worked. I mean, I understand the basics that if A, then happens B, but like... A lot of the quirks I dealt with were so random seeming. I could never actually figure out anything unless it was like straight up obvious. I think there was a part that you could use anchor energy and just find out what the problems were, but until like the very end of the game, I really didn't have any idea. Or the extra anchor energy to really spend on that stuff. But annoying as the quirks were, they weren't really too troublesome, I guess. Copper wire, man. That was so annoying. I finally learned at this point in the game what the Liberator's for. And I still broke them. I think at that point, I was just kind of wondering if it, like, broke all the pieces really quickly. And then I wouldn't have to, like, waste my scrappers slowly doing this. So it wasn't really a waste. See, I learn. I'm a slow learner, but I learn. I will at some point get out onto the road. Maybe. Are we doing it? Yeah, finally. The Zinept Zone Crossing. which was put on hold for quite a while because I needed to get so many thermal sap crystals and plasma, and I clearly did not understand how the map worked at all. Probably should have taken the materials needed to make the limb shield so that I could craft it on the go. But, you know, hindsight's 2020. If I had only learned how to read the map, this would have been much less of a hassle. But of course, I did not. Oh, right. I had a repair thing. You could use anchor energy to repair your car. I don't know why I completely forgot about all the special abilities I gave my car. I know why. I'm dumb. Finally, out on the road again. These highways were such a double-edged sword. They were nice and safe. You know, and you didn't get much resources, but they were safe, quick ways to get there, but they were actually quite boring. But they were so much easier to... Where am I going? Oh, yeah, there's the road. They were so much easier to get from, like, the auto shop. Haha. Good point. I mean, he was a janitor who's weirdly good at, like, all this electronic stuff, so I feel like he deserves a lot more credit, because he did not go through, like, 12 years of schooling to be able to deal with this stuff, like you did. And he also didn't create a giant time-warping... Haha. Yeah. You know, I always wanted to run into that, there was, like, the inside outdoor and the Sasquatch and... Oh, the ship? Yeah, the ship. I always wanted to run into those things. I wondered if they were actually, like, there. Like, the door, if you were close enough to it, would it just, like, game over you? Because you're supposed to switch your insides and your outsides, but... Like, how would that work gameplay style? It wasn't like there were animals or anything you could watch it happen to. So... always wondered if it actually, like, existed. Because it would have been cool if there were things out there like that. Like, you could just run into, like, a Sasquatch thing, or any of the cryptids that Tobias was really into, because he was this conspiracy guy. That would have been cool. Because this game was otherwise, like... It was very peaceful, but very empty. Like, even the few things that were antagonistic to you just kind of felt like they were there. And they weren't really out to get you. See? I just randomly shows up. But that's it. Doesn't do much. I didn't even get hurt getting thrown into the air like that. But was that like a living thing, or was that just that always like confused me about this game. Like, what was the point of the small bit of wildlife that did exist in this game? Like, was that a thing? Did it eat? Did it breathe? Was it just a weird anomaly that the ground just rose up? Did it have proximity things or anything like that? Like, where did these things come from? And why? Like, what was their purpose? I understand things in this game are supposed to be, like, nonsensical. But a little more answers would have been nice of how, like, this world was supposed to be shaped. Maybe you could learn some of it if you read things, but clearly I didn't read anything. So, like, most of the environment just felt disjointed. I mean, I think that was the point. So they nailed the fuck out of it, but would have been nice if there was, like, a little bit of cohesion between why the, like, antagonist from the Brave Little Toaster kept trying to, like, throw your car. Yeah, I should have scanned more too. Boosh. Game really was so peaceful. Like, even with the giant weird whale songs and scary noises, this was just such a terrifyingly peaceful game. Like, I think I've talked about this before, but like, this was, I don't know if this was supposed to be a horror game, but it certainly had its moments. And that was crazy to me. Excuse me. Anchor party. Woo! It's a good thing most of these things never deteriorated. Because I don't know how long. I mean, I think it was decades. But, like, glue does eventually go bad. Things do deteriorate. Though I guess time wasn't really a thing in this place. Those insulated parts really helped with that. Because I think, like in the beginning, that would have destroyed me. But actually, not too much was all that dangerous. Like, I could have definitely survived going in for that plasma right there. I had plenty of spam. And radiation had no long-term effects. That auto parker was definitely one of the best things I ever made. Just being able to get and go. Oh. Put on some driving tunes. Maybe not. Wriggling wreck. My least favorite enemy. I think almost one-shot me earlier in this playthrough. That was crazy. Anchor Party is good effect, man. I got so much energy through here that I basically like never needed energy again, which is nice. Or at least stable energy. The corrupted and the unstable one I could have used more of. I know that it takes so much time to like run between these points, but it was so much safer than trying to drive your car through all this shit. And also, every time you pulled an anchor, crazy shit happened around the anchor. So keeping your car at distance so it wouldn't be affected by any of that, because it was easier to dodge and maneuver around all of these issues without your car. See, nothing happened to the car. Just stayed there. Those things didn't get angry. They didn't change their attitude. They just got mad and moved you. They didn't eat. They didn't, like, steal stuff from you. It just felt like their existence was unnecessary. Like, it would have been cool if once you stole an anchor, they just got like super pissed off and kind of moved around faster and thing for a little while. Really up the like danger of up, left or right. Not that the game wasn't dangerous, but again, it just felt a little disjointed from the environment to the things that would be considered the antagonists of the game. Like, moving the item that affects the environment didn't affect the environment. And it was a bit odd. Kept doing that the whole game. Every time I tried to like light it, I'd drop it. Is it shortcut time? Might be shortcut time. Shortcuts never worked for me. How did those three survive in this place? Like, there's no way. Ah, these things. I never understood the transmuter. Like, I tried it so many times. But just could never get them to work. And I don't know why they never did. I thought it was because, like, I destroyed the plasma generator. But that clearly had no effect. I mean, maybe it was because I read that wrong. And it was supposed to be the opposite way. But it just seemed like that would be so much more inconvenient. Why would I want to turn lead platelets into fabric? Or whatever that was. Weird alchemist stone thingy. Again, I'm sure I didn't understand it because I'm stupid, but would have been nice if even just one of those things worked. Shortcut time. I think I got myself into more trouble trying to take shortcuts than I did if I would have just taken the road. Understood, car. You are in danger. Put on a little driving music again. And passing through. No second chances. Oh yeah, that's the first time I met that, I think. Luckily, I never suffered from that one, but that was the one effect I was, like, terrified of. Having to, like, go through all of that. And then lose all of your progress, because at least in the other ones you can go, normally you could go, like, go back, find your car, And I don't know if you got 100% of everything back, but you at least got majority of it, as far as I assumed. But just thinking, like, after all this, going to a place where you just couldn't recover anything back, that was a big no-no to me. Swamp coral. You needed so much of that stuff for, like, the wearable equipment. But I didn't really need it. I only made, like, the first backpack and, like, one pair of boots, I think. I don't think I made too much of that stuff. Shaggy Scrambler. This is what I mean. Like, it was such an eerily peaceful game. Like, you really just were never in danger. Like, unless the weather turned horrible on you, but like, you could walk up to an enemy and hit it with a gas-powered hammer and just left you alone. Didn't even bother with you. Didn't even get angry. You could just randomly walk in the darkness of the forests, unimpeded, eating spam. Very, very safe walk through almost absolute darkness in the woods with no consequences other than the slight radiation. Yeah, oh, yeah, I remember that. Something just, like, exploded near me with stuff. And I never understood why. I didn't collect the pieces either. But, like, there were some weird, I want to say, like, glitches or bugs in this game that, like, perfect for, like, the story of this game. I couldn't tell if things were, like, bugs and glitches or they were just supposed to be weird things that happened because of the, like, odd, anomalous nature of the environment. So, like, after a while, it didn't even, like, register to me that things would be, like, not working or anything. I was just like, I guess that's just part of the game. That's just the experience. Everything's gonna go wrong at times, and things are just gonna be weird. Like when the car kept flipping like 500 meters. Not at this point. Not like this. But when I was trying to warp it, like, I never fixed a quirk about it, and it never happened again. So was it like a legit bug? Or was it just something weird in the environment and it was just going to keep happening in that space? I have no idea. Why am I backing up here? Was I just trying to find the road? I'm as confused as you all. Because I feel like I ended up going the exact same place I just tried to stop going. Another Shaggy Doo. Trap is set. Do 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 do. I wish all that random radio and like audio commentary that you would play, it was probably because there was something nearby that you could find and interact with, like to collect. But I wish it would have been more like the car trying to talk to you kind of a deal. That would have been like a cool, very cool concept, I think. Like trying to use the different songs and audio recordings it found to speak with you. You know, not try to like converse and be buddy-buddy, but if it was like trying to tell you something's going on and you should like leave, or like a warning or something like that, that would have been so cool. That would have been really, really cool in my mind. Like if the car had like secretly been what's her name's husband the whole time, and just for some reason you were just like the right spot at the right time for him to come back as the remnant. And that's what they always were, was just like the remnant was secretly... No, because the remnants existed before that, didn't they? Never mind. I don't know. I just thought it would have been cool if the car had like... Even if it was like vague and mysterious, it would have been cool if the car could have like slightly tried to speak to you. Like if the songs that came on had to do with the situation, like when it was in danger. Because that's what it seemed like in the very, very beginning. But then clearly it became obvious it was just randomly putting on songs. But it would have been cool if it was... Oh, these fucks. Bubblegum buddies, I think they were called. They were very annoying. I don't know what the difference between them and the abductors was. Like, are they just like baby abductors? And after they've pulled things in enough, it just became... No, because the abductors had like magnets. I don't know. A lot of it didn't make any particular sense. Oh, did I have a flat at this point? I think I did. Might have had... I might have had a bunch of flats. The car, surprisingly, drives very well with flats. That it is almost indistinguishable between having tires and having no tires, or flats at least. I'm gonna miss trying to drive towards the giant radioactive beams of light and hoping that they were not death, and instead a teleportation device to get me back to an auto shop. In real life, I feel like I would have driven as far away from that as possible. Probably would have ended up dying because the radiation would have came in and murdered me shortly afterwards, but driving into them, never my first thought. I am Oppie, thank you. I assume that means you care now? And back to the repairing of the car. And the cycle begins anew, going back to the energy thing, picking parts. That I thought I would ever use, and never quite did. But I had the energy, so it didn't really matter. A lot of these things sounded really worthwhile to grab, but I knew that, like, the requisite materials in order to build some of these things was just so crazily centered on, like, just spending the time searching and like gathering resources, which I wasn't doing. So it just would have been a waste for me to spend the energy on, because I knew I wasn't going to work on them anyway. I mean, I wanted that thing, but of course it needed, the Liberator Part 2 needed thermosap crystals. So, like, that thing would have been nice. I never made those. Oh well. Maybe on my own I will play this game and, like, fully explore everything. But we'll see. We'll see. It takes a hell of a lot of effort to keep that car up so you can do these things. Well, I guess that's the end of this. It's when I... All right.